Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Janine Between the Lines, Literature and Lifestyle for Leisure. I have the most fun episode for you guys. Today I have a guest, the first video guest that I've had on this podcast this season. He is a very close friend of mine, close colleague at work, and we share a lot of the same nerdy, geeky interests, and we've been dying to talk about Wind and Truth for the longest time. I'm so excited for you to meet him. His name is Jordan. Disclaimer, I have to split this episode into 2 episodes because of technical and storage issues, and we had a lot of stuff to talk about. So first things first, if it ends abruptly, stay tuned for a part 2. Secondly, again, this is our first dual setup, so there might be a little bit of shaky video, but I hope that you guys power through it because we have such a fun, hilarious, amazing conversation. And if you want to hear us talk about all the things nerd culture, all things the Cosmere, then just keep listening and stay tuned. You want to know something so annoying?
What?
I didn't press record. That's okay.
All right, we're all warmed up now.
I know, we definitely are. Oh, that was good. That was actually good.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna start from the top of at least this or that.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
The broadsword or mighty axe?
I'd go broadsword.
Okay. And would you rather die by Celebrimbor's death or death by Saruman in the uncut version?
Saruman. For sure. Yeah.
Quick and easy.
Quick and easy. Just stab in the back, fall off.
Okay.
Lethal fall. Yeah.
It's funny that you say you actually segued into the next one, because I was gonna put beach vacation or après ski.
Oh my gosh, après
You're
ski.
Definitely a ski.
Yeah.
I did that more for them to get to know you.
Yeah, I mean, I love a beach vacation. I've been on more beach vacations than I've been on like skiing vacations.
Yeah.
But I think I've had more fun on a skiing vacation.
God.
I don't know. It's just magical.
Yeah.
I like being in the mountains, like hiking or skiing or anything like that.
I feel like skiing is a little bit more of an expensive sport.
Oh yeah. It's like I don't blame people
vacations.
that didn't grow up skiing and like aren't going to get into it because there's such like a cost to entry.
Yeah.
Or if you're a beginner and you just want to go up and like get a day pass and rent, it's like astronomically expensive.
It's actually pretty expensive.
So it's crazy. Yeah. It's like if you already have the gear and then you're committed to going a lot and you get the season's pass, then it's like, but if you're not, if I told you like, hey, let's go skiing.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, do you want to spend like $300 to like not really have a good time?
I know. Yeah, because my first time was a little scary.
It's just like I learned to ski when I was really young. So.
I was just about to ask that. Yeah.
So like you're shorter, there's less distance to fall. I don't know. There's
the fear of God isn't in you.
Yeah, a little bit less fear.
Yes.
And we work at a job where like half the people coming in getting ortho work done are like, oh yeah, I broke my leg skiing. And it's like, oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Teddy and I went to the Camden Snow Bowl, my goal was to fall less than 11 times.
Okay. And did you achieve that?
I did. I only fell 5 times.
Hey, not bad.
That's not bad, right?
Not bad, yeah.
But I did get caught in the ramp to go up to the top of the hill. Like my ski got on my foot and I was cussing with like a kid behind me. I was like I could not slide my leg out, and it was not fun.
That is just the beginner experience. It's like, it's across the board for everyone, I think.
And we did do lessons. Teddy was picking it up pretty well, but it's just that like I'm almost 30, and to either dislocate or break a leg right now would be game over for me.
Oh yeah, I'm like terrified of getting injured.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, not necessarily skiing. I just mean like in general.
Yeah.
I feel confident enough with my skiing ability that like I think I can do it without getting injured. But there's those freak things, and it could happen anywhere, but like falling down the stairs or something.
Yes.
Not necessarily breaking your neck, but like
falling downhill.
I just don't want to be down and out for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And then have arthritis in 20 years.
I know,
And then
and
need like knee replacements.
Just waste away for a little bit. And then in the long run, you're just going to have that much less flexibility.
Right. Because I mean, you've experienced knee issues already. And I think that kind
yeah.
of slows you down with some activities.
It definitely does.
Which is like a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Have you broken a bone?
Not really. Just my pinky.
Your pinky? How did you break that? Shooting
a
threes?
van door, sliding van door. Yeah, it was rough.
Oh, did you have to get splinted or something?
Yeah, well, it was just like I broke like a piece off the tip, so it's not really like it's not a real break. That it was like, but it sliced me.
Okay.
The door sliced me open. I needed a bunch of stitches.
Amazing. We've got a little guest here who's dropping us off a little gifty poo.
Oh my goodness!
Hi guys.
Oh,
look at that.
Thank you so much.
Teddy, how are you?
I'm well, and you guys?
Doing well.
Doing great. First
Thank you for the
podcast
appearance.
experience.
What I'm serving for you today is light Allagash with an orange twist.
We do ASMR here, so we can sip.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Can you close that door, Teddy? Of course. Thank you. Not bad.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, injuries. I definitely don't want one.
Yeah, we're getting a little too old, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I think I try to be like a relatively careful person. Like Sarah's broadened, what I do on the mountain when I go skiing. I used to just do the trails, and she wants to dive into the woods and pretend she's Tarzan, and and I've grown to love that, and now I really enjoy that. But I was like terrified at first.
Wow.
And yeah, it just took a little while. But I'm careful. I just won't go too fast. I'm not gonna try to like do something sick. It's not like I'm posting videos on TikTok or something. Like I don't need to do.
You
like
have a GoPro. Just
I don't need to do some insane trick just to like have a risk of dying.
Yeah, you're not chasing that adrenaline rush like you might have.
Yeah,
in your yesteryears.
Right.
Can you confirm or deny this? I met somebody when I was in Provincetown, and avid skier, goes to Colorado, Big Bear, comes up to Maine pretty frequently. Mm-hmm. And I told him my issues and my hesitancy, and he was like, do you want to know the real secret to being comfortable skiing when you're an adult? He's like, you have to be drunk. Inhibitions out the door. Is that?
I definitely wouldn't say you have to be drunk.
Okay.
I think that it could be a lot of fun. I wouldn't want to be like hammered skiing, because then you're just like, once you lose your coordination, then it's like
game over.
Yeah, your day's kind of over. But like having like a beer or two, or like a drink or two, I think can be a good thing. Just
get a buzz going to like lighten the load.
Yeah, but I don't have the perspective of like when I was learning to ski, I obviously wasn't drinking, so I don't know how that would feel for someone that's already not confident.
Okay. All right.
But like I will do a couple forms of inebriation when I'm skiing sometimes, and I have a very good time.
That's pretty awesome.
But I definitely go up, I drink, or I don't drink more days on the mountain than I do drink.
Okay. All right.
If I'm just doing a day trip, I don't know. It's just like it doesn't seem as fun. Like if I were staying on the mountain or in Austria for the honeymoon, then yeah, absolutely. I think it's really fun, but I would not say it's necessary.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Frankie Ray, you heard it here.
I think Frankie Ray likes to drink during other activities too, potentially.
Definitely.
And I think there's a place for that. There's no shame in it. But But I think you can do it sober and have a good time.
There's truth on all fronts, is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of beers, one beer for the rest of your life, like you choose one and you can never have any other, or have a potato one way for the rest of your life.
Wow. I guess my gut is choose a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because potatoes, you can do so much, and there's so many different dishes that involve, and so many different cuisines. I don't know. I wouldn't want to limit myself like that.
Yeah.
But I think I could find a beer that I would be content with.
You think so?
Is that like my only source of
Yes.
alcohol
Yes.
forever? So I couldn't have any does it have to be a beer? Like, could I just pick? I need to have like one mixed drink or something?
No. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'd still pick the beer.
You'd still pick the beer?
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know what I'd pick, but I think I could find something.
Hey, I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, and you say what your liquor of choice is, and I'm going to say what I think yours is. And then let's see if I know what yours is.
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Tequila. Oh, yay! I'm so happy. I don't know why I was doubting myself at the last second. I was like, it might be vodka.
I am curious what makes you say that. I hate vodka.
I mean,
I like drinks with vodka, but I wouldn't choose vodka over other things.
Oh my God. You know what? I'm having a flashback. There was a moment in time where we had a party here and we did do tequila shots, didn't we?
I know that we did tequila shots at Jen Greenleaf's house.
Oh, that's the one.
When we got together.
Okay.
We've probably done a tequila shot here. I wouldn't be surprised.
And truthfully, the only reason why I knew that was just because we got marks at Republica that last time.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect you. For some reason, it must have left my brain that you chose tequila as well.
Yeah, I like tequila and whiskey are probably
yeah. That's
my
what
top
I was.
two.
Yep. I probably would have guessed that.
Yeah. But I'm open to a lot of things. I don't really love gin.
No, I'm not a gin person either.
But most other things I'm a fan of for the most part.
What's in a Moscow Mule?
A Moscow Mule would be vodka.
Oh, okay.
But you can get like a Kentucky Mule that has whiskey, or you can get some places have a Mexican Mule with tequila.
Yeah.
I think they're all pretty good, honestly. I just like ginger beer.
We might have to just have Teddy serve that up for the next round. Teddy, if you're listening, you can serve that up. Okay, here's the next one. Would you rather be a hobbit trapped in the mines of Moria or an orc in Fangorn Forest? Which one would you survive longer in?
A hobbit in the mines, I guess.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't want the wrath of like ancient trees upon me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and as long as you don't have a Pippin, you might be able to survive for a little longer.
Right. I think if you're quiet and stealthy, which, hobbits I think are generally known to be.
Okay.
I think
there's
a chance you make it.
But let's say that you did, for some reason, someone pulled a Pippin and then you're on the run. And then also the orc, the Ents are awake. Which would you survive longer for?
Which would I survive longer?
Yeah, which setting would you survive the longest in?
I still think the mines. I mean, I think both you'd probably be you wouldn't last long.
I think so too.
Yeah. But yeah, I just can't imagine the trees just waving around. You imagine just like 100 whomping willows. Just standing there.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I didn't know what I would have chosen, but now I agree with you.
But although the more I think about it, if you're saying like to last the longest, then I'd probably say the mines. But if you're just saying like which one would I rather be, maybe I'd rather be the orc because I think it would be done quick.
Very true.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on.
It could be better to just be instantly stomped on by a
Yes.
tree than to have like a bunch of like crazy goblins just like.
And they'll eat you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like ripped out the person's entrails at the edge of Fangorn Forest in the movie. I don't want that life.
Do you remember in
that death.
Osgiliath, there was when they were raiding, for some reason there were like 3 orcs in a row who were just like vampiring that red-faced orc. Like some of them just chose to just take chunks out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not all of them do. Some of them kill and some of them are just hungry, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that okay? I mean,
is that okay? I mean, yeah. Depends on who you ask, I guess. I don't see it as okay.
Yeah.
I would probably be on the human side, and
very true.
That would be bad for me.
Yeah, we're not going to survive that. Yeah. Nickelback or Fall Out Boy?
Nickelback.
Okay.
I was never a big fan of Fall Out Boy.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I know they had a lot of popular songs, and I definitely listened to them, but like I would never put them up in like one of my faves.
Okay. I don't know. I'm right down the middle. But we have been on a big Nickelback kick right now. Teddy's on Divorced Dad Rock only.
Yeah, I think Fall Out Boy might just be like slightly too pop for me.
Okay.
Or something.
Yeah, you are a little bit more of like a metal.
I'm like more,
heavier.
A little bit heavier. Like I go, you know.
You like heavy, but you like melody.
Yes. And I love a good drummer. I really think the more I think about music and what I end up liking, a lot of it can just depend on like the beat that the drummer's setting.
You know, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Funk, marry, or kill? Percy, Scanlan, or Grog?
I would kill Percy, I would funk Scanlan, and I would marry Grog. Scanlan would show me a good time.
Yeah,
but
undoubtedly.
He's too unreliable to be in a long-term thing. Grog, he has his moments where he rages and it's hard to reason with him, but for the most part, he's actually like pretty like nice,
he's
down to earth, genuine, loyal guy.
Yeah, very true.
Much more than I'd see in Scanlan. And then Percy, you know, he's just a little too pretentious for me or something. I don't know.
Really? You didn't get a good...
It wouldn't be like, I wouldn't be killing him out of like spite or anger. I would just be like, I
can't trust you.
rather have the other two.
Yeah. And Grog is just a love bug. He loves so hard.
Yeah. He's just great.
He just makes you laugh. He's so dopey.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he's definitely my favorite.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I do like Scanlan a lot too.
Yeah. He's got a pretty rounded out trope coming, you know, like with Kaylee coming.
Yeah.
I think he's turning into a better person. And who knows what happens with Pike, you know?
Yeah, he's realizing the error in the way he's lived thus far a little bit.
Yes.
Like it's got him some, you know, instant gratification, but I don't know if he's been making choices that achieve long-term happiness.
I think I agree
up until
with you.
now, which maybe he's turning over a leaf.
Yes. I don't know how many more seasons are coming of that.
I hope more. I don't know.
Yeah, I know there will be at least one more.
Yeah, and I don't follow Critical Role enough. Or really much at all. Like I really want to get into it, but it's too daunting.
That surprises me.
I know. It's just like every episode it could be like 4 hours long and there's like hundreds of episodes. It's just like it feels like a lot of time to invest.
That surprises me because I know you've been on an audiobook kick lately.
Yeah.
However, I can attest to the idea. When I first started watching Critical Role, I was laid up in bed and like sick. And I feel like a big part of consuming it is watching the video while you're listening to it. Like you get the most out of like their expressions and still they're acting along with their voice acting. So I think it would have to be like a sit down and consume it that way. And yeah, the first campaign is like insane. Like every episode is about like 2 hours or so. And it was like a summer break for me and I had time and you know, the audiobooks are obviously very time consuming. If you're listening to like Stormlight Archive, it's like 60 hours for a book. Yeah, you're insane.
But I can do that like with my headphones in while I'm doing other things, or I can do it like as I'm going to bed or in the car. And that's not something you could do, I think, with Critical Role. Or it wouldn't be as enjoyable to just listen. I think I would like to watch it.
Do you feel like you retain what you're doing if you're multitasking when you're listening to an audiobook, or do you have to like rewind a bunch?
It kind of depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes I will end up realizing like I don't know how we got from where I remember to where we are now, so I'll have to go back. But usually I feel like I can retain it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem that I have.
Although in general with audiobooks, I feel like overall I retain it better when I read it.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I can still retain it through the audiobook.
I'm trying to be an audiobook person, but for some reason I have in my head like the only audiobook that I'll be able to retain is nonfiction. But then when I start listening to a nonfiction audiobook, I get bored and then I stop.
Honestly, I would prefer to have the physical copy and the audiobook of the same book.
Oh, a little read along?
Because I would love to read and be focused, but then if I do want to still continue the story, but I have other things to do, I would like the option to kind of pick up where I left off and then go back and forth. I think that would be cool.
That sounds efficient and also engaging.
Yeah, but for now, I'm just doing one or the other.
Yes. Audiobooks are considered books, I will say. There's no debate about that.
Yeah.
Only 3 more, okay?
Okay.
Would you rather be able to cast spells or control all the elements? And in those spells, you can't control elements.
That's a tough one. If it's just gut reaction, I'd say elements, I guess.
Interesting. Is that because of your devotion to Avatar, or is there a specific reason why?
It's probably mainly the Avatar thing. I just always loved Avatar. I think that's super cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there'd be a lot of practical uses of that other than just warfare,
Yeah.
Spells you can do just as much too. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Something just makes me want to say elements would be cool.
That's pretty telling, I'd say.
Of what? Please do tell.
It just makes sense to me about you as a person.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Do you think I would cast spells?
I guess based on your reaction, maybe, but I don't know. Tell me.
I think I would. When I think of casting spells, it makes me think Harry Potter level of casting spells.
Yeah, there's just there's so many different forms of spell casting through different fantasy series and TV and movies that maybe if you told me a specific one, maybe I'd pick that. But
okay. But just a generalized.
I think elements, I just think Avatar. I'm yeah, that would be sick.
All right, completely diverting off. Would you rather be on the verge of a fart for the rest of your life
okay.
or on the verge of a sneeze?
Gosh.
Sorry about that.
I guess on the verge of a fart? Because you could probably do that quietly.
No, but
you're always on the verge of a sneeze.
Never fart.
But you never fart, yeah, so you never get the satisfaction of that. But you're really just, I don't know. You're just making your sphincter muscle a voluntary muscle that you have to think about instead of the involuntary breathing.
Imagine the lactic acid down there.
I don't want it. But I think being on the verge of a sneeze, how could you ever talk to anyone?
You're right.
You just be on
gasping.
Your own. People would be this is taking too long. I don't know what you're trying to say.
You could never fit it. You'd have to work from home. No direct calls.
You just need to carry around a whiteboard or something, or I don't know. Yeah.
All right.
It'd be interesting.
Follow-up question to that.
Okay.
Being on the verge of a burp.
I think I'd still pick the fart, I guess.
Yeah, you're right.
I think being on the verge of a burp, I think that'd be more uncomfortable for some reason.
I feel like you might think you're having a heart attack. Just like a bubble in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't, maybe I don't burp enough to feel like I have to hold in a lot of burps, but I think everyone's used to holding in a fart,
Yeah.
There are places that we know that we're not going to just let one go.
Hopefully. Right now?
Right now I'm good, but we'll see. This is a long podcast.
Yes, it's very true.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my last one of our introduction portion.
Okay.
Gandalf or Dumbledore?
Gandalf.
Yes.
100%, all the way through. I was actually talking at work with Maddie yesterday, because she's a Harry Potter nut.
Yes.
About how I think Dumbledore is overrated and really just not that great of a guy.
You said that to Maddie?
Yep.
Did she?
She did at first, but I explained my reasoning, and I think she got it. It's just like it really hit me watching the movies. Sarah and I were rewatching them recently, or kind of still are.
Okay.
And book 5, he just ignores Harry the whole time, doesn't even look at him.
That was really
Harry's
mature.
going through a lot of stuff. He's like worried that he's going insane, that Voldemort's in his brain, and Dumbledore's just like, yeah, deal with it, buddy. Like I don't give two craps about that. And then immediately book 6, he's just like showing up, interrupts his date, at least in the movies, he interrupts his date and is just like, come help me do all this dangerous stuff.
I know.
Like, I really need your help now after I just completely abandoned you previously. Mm-hmm. And also like in the Goblet of Fire, why couldn't he just be like, yeah, you're just going to not compete or something, He's just
as if he had no power.
Yeah.
To overrule that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think Dumbledore is just so self-interested, and that's just the exact opposite of what Gandalf is. He's,
Yeah, he's self-sacrificial.
Yeah.
He's helped pretty much every single race that exists.
Yeah, and there isn't like a single companion of his that would say like really much negative about him, other than like, oh, he disappears from time to time.
Yeah.
But like he's doing productive things when he's disappearing.
Yes.
So it's like everything he's doing is like to help your cause, whereas Dumbledore's just kind of got his own agenda, I think.
Wow. I'm going to need Teddy to listen to this right freaking now, because we were on I don't even know how to pronounce it, but we were on a tirade of watching the tirade of watching YouTube videos. You ever watch those battle of the whatever's on YouTube? It's like Scorpion versus Sub-Zero, or like Viking versus
I think I've seen some of those.
Yeah. Versus, like Attila the Hun versus Beowulf or something like that, and they do like an analysis of their powers and everything.
Yeah.
So many were in favor of Dumbledore.
Well, I think Dumbledore is very powerful, and like he's got the Elder Wand, and so it's like if it's like, who do I think is like stronger? I guess I would say I don't know. Like I'd maybe even give that to Dumbledore a little bit, but my qualms with him are mostly just like, who would I want to associate with? Who would I want like on my side? Who would I would probably pick Gandalf. I'd ride or die with him. Yeah,
very true.
Yeah.
I'd be his Shadowfax.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
God, I love him so much. But also, Gandalf the White versus Dumbledore, I think he could prevail.
I think so. I don't really know the full extent of Gandalf's powers, but I feel like he'd have a really good shot.
Yeah.
I don't know what Dumbledore would do against a Balrog. Would he smote his ruin on the mountainside? I'm not sure.
I guess we'll never freaking know.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Balrog, just one more follow-up question. Okay. And I'll finish with those. But in all of the fantastical worlds that you've consumed, who is your favorite villain that you can think of off the top of your head?
Man, I don't know.
It's kind of a hard one.
That's so hard.
I just conjured that up in my mind. I actually don't even have an answer, but I just wanted to know if you could think of one.
Oh my gosh. No, I don't know.
Okay, before you answer that, do you agree with the Halbrand x Sauron slander that has happened ever since Rings of Power has come to light?
What, I don't know. What's the slander?
No, just that like they're doing like the representation of how powerful he is and everything is not that it's inaccurate, but that it's like lame, and the producers of Rings of Power are not doing him justice or the book's justice or anything like that.
I don't know. I think like the Rings of Power, if it was just like a standalone show, I don't think it would be like the best show ever. Mm-hmm. You know, like I think I like it a lot because it's just more Lord of the Rings content, and I'm thirsty for that.
Yeah.
But
we're fiending for that.
And I enjoyed it, and I think it's like it's a good show, but I don't think like if you just considered it just for what it is, I think that it could have been done better maybe.
I agree with that. And
yeah.
I agree with that, and I also don't accept slander because and I know a lot of people, I don't know if you know this, but I haven't read the books. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I haven't. I own them. They're up there somewhere. But I just grew up watching them like at least like 100 times in my lifetime, so that I consider my fandom like all based on pretty much video media.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm basing like my knowledge off of, and maybe that changes for people who have done the extensive, have read every single extension of Lord of the Rings and are like, that's not accurate.
I'm not one of those people, actually. I mean, I've read Lord of the Rings, obviously, and The Hobbit, but I haven't read the Silmarillion.
Okay.
Because I think it reads, at least in the beginning, like a dictionary, and I just had a hard time getting through it.
Yeah.
it's still on my list. I still want to read it, but right now I don't have like any slander like saying like, oh, that's not how it happened.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
At least for the Rings of Power.
Okay.
And I didn't mind Halbrand ended up being Sauron, I thought.
Okay.
Thought it's like a covert way to like enact his evil plan.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
I think they did really well. I think that kind of solidified my belief that he's probably one of my favorites.
But maybe it's way cooler in the book.
Oh, that is true.
Like maybe the way they did in the book, if they had done it on the show, it would have also been cool to see that like created and actually be able to visualize it. But I don't know.
Yeah. I'm going to make that a goal of mine. Maybe in the next 10 years, I'm going to read Lord of the Rings. It shouldn't take me that long.
I think, if you don't include the Silmarillion in there, if you just read the Lord of the Rings, I think that's worthwhile.
What if I listen to it? That would probably be nice, eh?
Yeah, I think that'd be good. What's his name? Andy Serkis, who voiced Gollum, is the narrator.
The narrator? Wow.
I think. He is. I forget if it's for The Hobbit or if it's for Lord of the Rings, but I'm pretty sure it's for Lord of the Rings.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah, and I think he does a pretty good job.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, you guys.
You should.
Okay, that's going to be on my goal.
Okay.
We're going to take a 5-minute break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about what we actually gathered here for, which is the Stormlight Archive and Brandon Sanderson. So hold on to your butts. It's coming.
Stick around. We'll be right back.
3 joints and 1 Miller. Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
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 It's a low census this week.
I know. Except for Friday. It's like 50 or something.
Only like 2 overnights, though.
Good. Hopefully that means it'll be just like quick.
Yeah.
Just boom. Just get it done. I like those days.
You like being charged?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I like mixing it up. I wouldn't want to be charged like every single day.
Yeah.
But I like doing it. I think that I know what I'm doing.
Nice.
I think people think I do okay.
I agree. So. If you were to pivot right now and make a passion project your job, what would you do?
I don't know. Professional golfer or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like a YouTube golfer.
What do they do?
There's there's like a whole golf YouTube. There's a bunch of different creators, and they just like go out and play and do different like games and matches, and it's more about like, personalities. Like you don't necessarily have to be the greatest golfer there, but there's just some groups that it's just like the chemistry's on, and they're playing golf, and it's not necessarily like instructional videos. It's like there's obviously all kinds of those things, but there's this niche of these people that basically just get paid by YouTube and advertisers just to go play golf and just like record it.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, because I like playing golf, and I think that seems like pretty cushy. I mean, if someone enjoys watching you play golf and just like talking about what you're doing, I think that would be like pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And that would also be like an active job. You know, I wouldn't want to just be like, well, I would want to be instantly rich, but I wouldn't want to have like nothing to do.
That's very true.
So I think like the best thing is not just to be like rich without any job. I think it's just to be doing a job that makes you a lot of money that you're also like, you'd rather be doing other than other things anyways.
Do you feel like if you, let's say that was plausible.
Yeah.
Would you be worried that it becoming your profession would take the passion out of it?
I think that would come more so if my goal is like play competitively and like, you know, cause then I think you could, you know, not have success and then grow to like see it as just like work and it's hard. And I think that's happens to a lot of golfers. But if you're legitimately just like going out with your buddies and just like having fun and, you know, having different guests come on and you're just playing like different games and like really what it is you're just like walking around outside.
Very true. Have you watched Meat Eater?
I haven't.
So that one it sounds like what you're describing, but he pretty much goes out and hunts, brings on different guests. I think he had like Luke Combs. He had like Goldberg on one time. And basically he's a guide, takes them to, oh my God, all over the world. And then whatever they hunt, there's a segment at the end where he cooks for them, like whatever cuisine that's from, and talks about life, has a bunch of like life lessons and stuff. And that's like a passion turned profession real quick, successfully.
That sounds pretty sweet. I'm not a hunter. I'd have nothing against it if you're doing it for the right reasons. But yeah, that's the same concept as just like, he would want that guy would probably want to just be going out and hunting anyways.
Exactly.
So if he can find a way to monetize like his hobby or his passion, then that's like the goal.
Isn't that the goal?
Yeah, the goal is to monetize like the thing that you want to do the most.
Yeah. I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but the generation right under us is a lot more equipped to follow their dreams and passions, because I feel like when I was growing up, it was all about stability and stable income. And you have a dream and a passion, but you also have to make a living, and that takes priority first. And I feel like the younger generation is a little bit more gung-ho with like, I'm going to follow my dream and do that until something doesn't happen and I'm forced to, you know, just live day to day.
Yeah, well, I think like that old concept of the American dream where you're just supposed to be able to, you know, get a little bit of schooling and get a job that's just going to be able to pay all your expenses and allow you to live comfortably.
Yeah.
I think that's what was proposed to us, our generation. And it was all about like, when you graduate high school, it doesn't, even if you have no idea what you want to do, just go to college or whatever and just like get your degree and then you'll be fine. And then that didn't work out for everyone.
What was your first degree in?
Biology.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not that it didn't work out for me necessarily. Like, I'm doing fine. Yeah. Obviously. But,
that's how I feel about my master's. I'm not really, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that, Oh. Did it die?
It died.
Oh, no.
That's okay. 1 second.
We used up all.
Good looking out. This guy's a professional, dude. But anyways, yes. To finish that thought.
What was I saying?
To finish that thought. What are we? Millennials?
Oh, yeah.
What's behind us? Gen Z?
I think so. Yeah, I think the Gen Zers are just like...
Would you say that they're thriving?
I don't know. I don't associate with enough Gen Zers. I think that they're just living like a little bit of a different life than we had growing up.
Yeah. I guess that could be said about every generation.
Yeah, and I mean there's all these places online that you can like supposedly make money, and there's all these content creators, and there's all these other examples of other people that are like following, like monetizing their hobbies. So I think like people growing up think that that's achievable. Yeah. And then like know that a lot of the millennials complain about the fact that they have a degree and they still can't make enough to pay rent and all this stuff. And so like, why follow convention if convention hasn't really working out for the people before you, I guess.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't think, well, you know, hot take, but I was going to say, I don't think a lot of people I know right now are exactly thriving right now, just in this economy. But,
yeah, no.
you know, in that mindset, that means you could literally, it actually opens doors for you to pretty much try anything. And you'll pretty much do anything to either get that bag or just make you happy. Mm-hmm. Because there's only up from here if you're starting from rock bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at this point I'd like to like do something like that, but I'm like a little bit conservative or something. 'Cause like, I don't know, the stability right now, like all of my, you know, my car and my house all depends on my job and everything.
Yeah.
So it would feel uncomfortable just to like take my savings and be like, hopefully like people on YouTube like what I have to say or something, you know, like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I wish I could make this my job.
I don't
Manifesting.
know. I've never thought to record myself and like put it out to anyone. I don't know. So that would be,
I don't know. We could have a future.
We could. I think that'd be cool.
It.
I think
Dude, imagine your golfing YouTube sponsored by a book nerdy podcast YouTube. It could be a collaboration.
I would totally be down to like monetize a podcast and just do that. I think that's fantastic.
In millies. Portable mics, just talking about nerdy stuff while you're golfing. Come on. There's definitely a niche for that.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah, there has to be.
There has to be. And if it's not, we're trademarking it. Try not to do that. Please don't. Please don't. I want to get into the meat and potatoes.
All right, let's do it.
Meat and potatoes wise, before there was meat and before there was potatoes, there were seeds.
Sure. Okay.
And offspring. And I want to know, because you were the one who planted the Stormlight Archives in my brain, who was your donor? It just sounds really weird.
I'd say like up to this point, most of my, the fantasy books that I've read or gotten into, a lot of them have come from my friend Matt Brennan. So
Matt Brennan.
Shout out to Matt Brennan.
Hello, Matt Brennan.
I met him in high school. Still really good friends with him.
Amazing.
And
You're in Maine?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's my dungeon master. We play D&D together.
We were supposed to meet a long time ago.
Magic cards together. He's like, he, I think, has got me into more things than anyone else in terms of like reading or different like fantasy series, or he's huge Lord of the Rings fan.
Amazing.
Huge Supernatural fan.
You haven't gotten me into that yet. I know you and Corinne are the huge SPN fans. Yeah,
well, that's just I see other people, like if I recommend it to other people, I don't necessarily expect everyone to be like they love it and they fall in love with it like I did. But Matt put me onto that show as well.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know where I was going with that, but anyways, Matt Brennan would be the person that has introduced me to most
pretty
of this
much everything.
World.
So if let's say there's a stranger on the street and they're like, "Why should I read Stormlight?" What would you say to them?
Oh my gosh. I think that Brandon Sanderson is just like a genius. I think that he created this new kind of formula for how magic could exist. Because like a lot of things are sort of redone from previous stuff, and that you follow the same conventions of magic in a lot of different series, which it's still awesome.
Yes.
But this is like a totally new way to look at it, and his character development all the way through is like pretty crazy. Like there's so many different characters in the list of characters that you like gave me before this that like went through so much, and like you learn so much about them, and you learn things about them, and then you get their backstory and you feel differently about them. And so he just weaves the story together so well, and like culminated it in a way that was like very satisfying, but also left it totally open for like the future 5 books that'll come out. So
Jesus Christ.
I think it was just like a work of genius.
I think so too. I'm happy that I was indoctrinated into this world.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out Matt Brennan.
I think that ever since I finished Wind and Truth, I've been in a slump, at least a fantasy slump. Mm-hmm. That has carried on to any other genre that I've been reading. Nothing is impressing me right now. And it's kind of sad.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to ask Matt for a recommendation. Well, I guess the only logical direction I should go from there is Mistborn. That's what makes sense.
I mean, if you're like in a slump after the Stormlight Archive, then just reading something that kind of goes hand in hand with the Stormlight Archive is a good way to go.
Okay,
that's kind of what I did.
You know what? I think that has to happen. Does it read familiarly? Is there a familiarity with the writing style and like similarities? Obviously, the characters are going to tie in because it's the Cosmere, but is there like distinct differences with his writing in Mistborn versus the Stormlight Archives?
I don't know. I think Mistborn is just like the books are a lot shorter. Like I think he still develops the characters pretty well, but it's not like you don't get the same depth, I guess, that you get in Stormlight. But I think it's again like another different style of magic and the way that these people get their powers and use their powers, which is like a concept that I haven't seen before, which is just like another thing that's very intriguing.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, they're different, but I think I really enjoyed the Mistborn trilogy.
Did you finish it?
Yeah. I'm actually in the second generation Mistborn, which is like it's like a time.
Oh my God.
It's like the Alloy of Law, and then I think the second book is Shadow of Self, or don't quote me on that, but I am 3/4 through that one.
You're just flying, dude.
Yeah.
There's no hope for me. Well, eventually there has to be at some point where we're reading at the same time, but I think you're just going way too fast.
Yeah. I mean, if we made it a point to like, get to this point and then discuss, I could do that.
Okay. I actually haven't. Don't let me forget, but I have to give you one of those books you have to read. It's a graphic novel called Saga. Have you heard of this? No. Oh, God, I love Saga. You're going to love that. It's more outer spacey, but it's like sick. Absolutely sick. I wanted to ask, so I wrote down a 1 to 5 rating system of how I rated the first 5 books in the Stormlight.
Okay.
What would you say is your rating from the best to the worst in terms of your reading experience? If you can quantify that. I can give you what mine is if you want an example first.
All right.
So it's not great. It's not very clear.
Okay.
Because I put Oathbringer was number 5 for me.
Okay.
And I think I talked about it before, but it was just the density of it, of the history. I think it was essential, not to take away from its importance in the series, but it slogged along for me a little bit. Like I definitely, it took me the longest to get through.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is hard. I say this and I feel immediate like regret because I feel like depending on what you say, I might change my answer, which is fine because people change, We're just humans. 2 of them are tied for 3rd and 4th, and I put Rhythm of War and Wind and Truth in 3rd and 4th. I'm not sure which one takes that.
Okay.
But Way of Kings and Words of Radiance are tied for 1 and 2.
Okay.
I can't choose, so I'm excited to see how you rank yours.
Yeah, that's so tough. I think like I had some like slowdowns during Oathbringer too, but I thought like the ending of Oathbringer was so riveting.
Okay.
That I really liked that one. I don't know. It's hard to say like one of them is like at number 5. That's like really hard.
It feels deceitful, or at least just hurtful at its finest.
Yeah. I don't know. What is 5? I guess maybe I'd put Oathbringer 5. I guess.
Okay.
Probably. Words of Radiance 4, or like 3 and 4 Words of Radiance and Rhythm of War, maybe.
Oh, okay,
and then
that's different.
And then I'd put
Okay.
Wind and Truth 2, and then I'd put probably The Way of Kings 1.
Why is Way of Kings number 1 for you?
I was like the start of a series, like setting the tone, and I just Kaladin for a while. I don't know if that's still true, but was my favorite character, and I just loved like getting into that. And
Yeah.
And just learning about the world and the whole system and how the governments worked and how everyone was intertwined. I think it was just like set the tone really well, and then. At the end, obviously, him swearing the first ideal was like a pretty sweet end to it.
It's so fun for me to remember.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think I have a tendency to like the first book in a lot of series for some reason.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way about the Fellowship? Is that number 1 for you?
Probably, honestly.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's so funny because I think the Two Towers is mine, and listening to you talk, I think Words of Radiance would take the number 1 spot for me. Just because I think I like when things are, now that I've been able to make sense of it and I know each character, because I feel like with differing POVs, I don't know if I'm just simple or like slower, but I need, like, it takes me longer to like digest it and know like, oh, what's going on and have a grasp on personalities.